The first book is The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. It's about a man who literally makes millions and millions of dollars and loses it all due to stupid mistakes he made. And most importantly, it's his journey of actually making that money back. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's really easy to look at the success of others, but probably more important than that is seeing other people's failures so you don't have to make those same mistakes. And so the mistakes didn't really stand out to me as much as the idea of thinking time. So what he does is he actually writes out a problem on top of a paper and he comes up with as many solutions as he possibly can for that one problem. And some of those problems obviously aren't going to be great, but every once in a while a gem stands out to him and he'll take action on it. And that's what leads to him constantly pushing the business forward and getting through obstacles in the business. So it's something that as soon as I read that, I started incorporating every single morning. And once again, not only has it impacted my business and helped me think through ideas and problems that we're going through, but also it's helped my personal life. You can use it as kind of your journal prompt, but once again, it's just about coming up with a problem that needs to get solved and just letting yourself for the next hour, yes, an hour, come up with as many ways to solve it as possible. And what's interesting is too, you start to develop a skill for problem solving, which as an entrepreneur, we all need. Book number 2, Deep Work by Cal Newport. One way to stand out as an entrepreneur, do this skill called deep work, allowing themselves to get bored. It's almost like the skill isn't even to do deep work, but it's actually the okay with being bored and having blocks. And one of the things that I realized when I read this book is if I'm working on something, if I'm working on a project, or let's say I'm coming up with content or running a blog, if I would get stuck, I'd reach for my phone. And it was like, oh my God, like how much time am I wasting by doing this? If I just stare at the damn screen if you have to. Even if it sucks, just write, do the task. And the better we get at being bored, actually the better we get at this skill called deep work, which really will set you apart from everybody else. The more time you can spend on your craft, the more you're gonna stand out. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the video. In the description below, I just wanna let you know we do have a free coaching community full of people just like you looking to grow their business. It's called the Elevated Coaching Community, full of free training, free tips, all so that you can spend less time chasing leads, begging them to come by for you, and actually spend your time doing what you love doing, which is coaching. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get back to the video. The Alter Ego Effect by Tara Herman. The lesson that I learned, you could waste all your time in the world and go to hours and hours of therapy. Now the therapy's bad. They try to work out your weaknesses, or you can turn up or down certain characteristics that you have in order to make the most out of the moment. So for example, let's say you're somebody that really doesn't like talking on camera. Imagine if you embodied somebody else for that moment. You embodied an alter ego and you would show up as that person. What's super interesting again about this book and the thought process that I had, you may be using an alter ego to get the work done, but ultimately it's still you. And the more time you do that, you realize, well, damn, if I could do this with having this thought in my head, I could probably do it without it eventually. Because a lot of what we have to do may stretch you, may get you out of your comfort zone. And you don't really have a choice not to do it. Like, look, especially today, you have to be online. You have to create content, especially if your goals are to become a thought leader, if your goals is to have an outstanding business. Like, this is part of the game, is you have to talk. And some people I know have imposter syndrome and all these things. And so instead of diving into those things and saying, well, I guess I just shouldn't do it, try this. Try picking up this book, creating an alter ego, one that has the confidence, and show up as that person. See how it works for you. Number 4, Overdeliver by Brian Kurtz. Brian Kurtz is somebody who was a direct marketer. The time and attention to detail that these individuals, these marketers had to make was outstanding. I mean, think about it, right? You send out millions maybe of pieces of mail. If one thing's spelled wrong, or if the hook isn't good, you can spend tons of money and not get anything in return. And so he made a comment about how today, because of email and because it's relatively cheap or inexpensive to send out information, we take it for granted. And it really made me slow down with my email marketing. Slow down meaning I started analyzing every single piece of content that I sent out to my list. The other part of it too that I learned was the importance of segmenting your list. Ultimately, one mistake I see entrepreneurs make a lot is that they make one giant list. So let's say you have a newsletter you're subscribing people to, and then you're constantly pitching them on other things that maybe they're not interested in. It's important to segment your list and separate them by what they came to you for, and then offer them something that ultimately lines up with that. I know that sounds like common sense, but I'll be honest with you, most people don't do that. The Challenger Sale. So this book right here is probably the most innovative sales book that has been written in the last 50 years. Sales has been the same for like ever. People try to add new spins to it, do whatever, but truth be told, it's all the same. But this book is a lot different for 2 reasons. One, the amount of research they did for this book is immense. Like, they had interviewed thousands upon thousands of different customers across different continents and countries, and it was just wild how much research they did for this book. But also the the new way of looking at it. And here's what it is, and here's the lesson I picked up from it, right? Is that most of us think that relationship building is the most important part about sales. But instead, here's the spin they put on it. It's not actually that, it's new insights that make customers not only buy, but stay for a lifetime. And what's also super interesting about what they talk about in this book is the thing that creates a lifelong client, someone that stays with you for a very long time, spends tons of money with you, is actually not the customer experience, it's that first sales experience. And so if we can give that person new insights, show them problems they didn't know they had, and prepare them differently for the future pitfalls that they may have, we can really stand out in the sales experience and most importantly, keep clients happy for a very long time.